No listening. If you're under 18, this is not for children, okay? I'm tired of not being able to walk past preschools. Hashtag sex offender by accident. Don't poop in a sandbox. No listening. If you're under 18, thank you.
Niños, escuchen estas palabras mientras que salen de mis labios agrietos. El siguiente programa, aunque esto sea muy divertido para toda la gente, no es para los niños. Como un burro que busca agua fría, un balde, y eso le va a dar toda la satisfacción que necesita, esta agua no es para ustedes. Por favor, vayan donde sus padres. Ayúdelos a limpiar los baños. No vayan a escuchar esto. Es muy importante. Que Dios nos bendiga a los Estados Unidos. Gracias.
Brian McCarthy interview show. Adam is now drinking his Coke. Disco. Listen to that beat. Breaking it down in Uptown. Take your hand and touch it. Touch it. Now rub it. Brian McCarthy interview show. Listen to that beat. Touch it. Now rub it. I wish I could still drink.
Hello, welcome. If you're actually watching live, hello, and remember, I mean, it's Wednesday. Typically, I know we try to make the shows evergreen, but we're doing it Wednesday.
This was, if you're listening to this in 2037,
yes,
today is in fact a Wednesday.
It is a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And while the robots are chasing you around,
not to be topical, but it's Wednesday.
I just rewatched The Terminator. I haven't seen it in a very long time.
You know. Did I watch? Yeah, I actually rewatched the Terminator 2. Terminator also.
Okay, in addition,
not only, but in addition to.
I have to tell you, number one, it's a great movie.
Right?
It's a great movie, but it's so funny. Like that scene where spoiler alert for a 90-year-old movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's that scene where he's in the mirror and he's fixing his eye. He's like cutting the flesh out. That looks so unbelievably fake to me. It's just funny. It's like my daughter was like, man. I was like, listen, honey, it was 1985 or whatever. I don't know.
It's a different time.
They made the movie for like $800. And I hated Terminator 2 because if you remember, by the way, Edward Furlong, have you seen a picture of him recently?
No.
Which
one's Edward Furlong?
He's the sweet boy. He plays John. He's John Connor.
Gotcha.
But he got super into drugs and fucking beating up girlfriends.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the most recent Terminators, they brought him on to like kind of be involved. And apparently he had a breakdown because he was like, I should be in this movie too.
Oh, no.
Yeah, look at Edward Furlong. Check him out. I mean, he looks if I'm thinking of him, he's like fucking really fat and bloated.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know who that is. I didn't know him by name. He wasn't he the kid in American History X?
He was. He was in a really good movie called Animal Farm with Willem Dafoe about prison.
Oh God, yeah. Here's a nice pic. I don't know if you can see that, but nice and mathed out.
Yeah, he's a mess.
Mouth.
A cautionary tale. Anyway, but the reason why I don't like Terminator 2 is because if you remember, he tells the Terminator it's like to be nice. And who's there to protect him? And he goes, just shoot him in the leg. Like he makes him the Terminator nice.
Just a flesh wound. I did not rewatch Terminator 2, so really, I don't even remember it really.
I only thought of it because you said 2037. But the reason why we're not doing the show on Friday is because
I never even asked. I'm finding this out too
right now. Hot breaking news! Oh boy, everyone, don't kill yourself.
You're selling Pampered Chef.
Something
you got.
You go around and.
No, it's like
you cook for people, go around their house.
It's like culinary. It'd be like the culinary version of Amway or something.
Okay. I'm glad you brought up Amway because Amway has a lot of culinary products. I'd love to tell everyone about.
Thank you.
Here's the thing about Amway: you're all managers. Everyone is a manager.
Yeah.
Okay. So, funny enough, not funny at all, but I'm actually participating in Heritage Day. At my daughter's school. So I'm making food and I'm hosting an Irish table.
Nice. What's on the menu?
Well, for those of you anybody in the UK, I know the UK's on Ireland, everyone fucking relax, but, or even God forbid Ireland, if you're all,
you mean because they're not in the wait.
Well, no, Ireland, people tend to confuse Ireland with the United Kingdom and they think it's not in, the Troubles.
I honestly didn't realize that they didn't consider that the United Kingdom.
Oh my God, Adam.
I know part of it is
great. We just lost County Donegal.
Part of it is like in the EU and part of it's not.
actually, it's not in the EU. Well, the northern. Okay, real quick.
Right.
Belfast and then northern sort of like the northern like third of Ireland is considered the United Kingdom. That is United Kingdom. And actually it's funny. Belfast is like from Scotland. It's like only like a few miles. You can practically swim there, but through a river of cirrhosis. But then the rest of Ireland is Ireland, the country, and that is in the EU. So they're two separate countries. But Ireland was in its own country. I'm going to fuck this up, so everyone relax. But Ireland became its own country. It was called Home Rule, I think in the 20s or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway.
So part of Ireland is the UK and part of it is not.
Very much
I do remember going there, and part of it you use the pound and part of it you use the euro.
God, how long ago was that? Oh,
long time.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
Over probably 16, 17 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. No, Ireland is part of the EU. And then before Brexit, now, hello, English people. Now Brexit, England is no longer part of the EU. I don't know how that's working out for them.
Right. So down like Dublin, that's
Ireland.
That's
yes,
not part of the EU, right? So that must have been where I used the euro.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Okay. Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
Boy, sorry. This is okay. Local currency talk here.
No
I mean, I'm apologizing to the people listening.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because I'm totally mangling like Irish history. I'm like, did you know that the Easter uprising was because of Protestants that couldn't get it?
Ted, feel free to,
Ted's fucking banging his head against the wall.
Probably already fucking offed himself.
And I picture in Ireland, if anybody's listening, it's like 9 people standing around a gateway laptop, put some tinfoil on your head. We got to get the signal.
It's a shit show. That's all he said.
There you go.
So,
hi, Ted.
All right. So we're with you. But I do remember that being kind of confusing, being like, wait, what now? What do I needed to like? So I remember having to change in the currency. Well, and I think I had gone from Scotland to Dublin. God. So it was like,
this is your grand tour of the United Kingdom.
I was finding myself.
Did you happen to go to the Falkland Islands too?
I only had like 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks there, so I wanted to see, as much as I could.
It'd be funny, like you only go to weird places that the UK still has. You're like, I went to Gibraltar. I went to Malta.
I will say this: I did. I skipped Wales because of people's sort of recommendation. Really? People were like, "Yeah, you don't need to go to Wales."
Oh, ouch!
I know that, but I don't know what I would.
I hear Wales is lovely. Cardiff
this time of year.
Cardiff.
Cardiff.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to tell you. I mean, I don't know. We're getting kind of tangent here about England, but like, I've been to London 3 times, and I've always had a fucking great time. I think it's. I'm not one of those people to espouse virtues of cities, but I had a lot of, and also the one time I went, Paul Dinan's buddy, the Russian, I don't even know his name. I just called him the Russian. He lived in Knightsbridge, which is where my hotel was. And he lived right across the street from Harrods. And he took me out 2 nights in a row. We had a lot of fun. But even when I didn't know people, I had a lot of fun. But I will say this, like London, like people, like in general, like, how like in New York, I'm going to tell you something funny happened yesterday, but like in New York, like if you ask any New Yorker, like directions, they love to show off that they know the city. They're like, oh no, take a left on 33rd. And then you want to go up to 6th Avenue or the subway. Well, the R is a local and the N goes down Broadway.
Some,
I would say
assholes.
Yeah. People like to show off.
I will help people, because I'm nice, but
but I think like people generally like even like dyed in the wool, like old school New Yorkers, they like to show off their knowledge of New York. And, like if you ask one of these old ladies in my neighborhood, like, where's a good place to get lunch around here? You'll be there for 45 minutes.
Sure.
Like, what are you in the mood for? What do you like?
Right.
Do you want something sliced or just a bowl of soup? So
sliced or not. They always ask you sliced or not.
Yeah. Do you want something sliced?
That was the first question.
Do you like all like weird old lady food? There's a place that has wonderful pot roast. Would you like a pot roast? They have London broil on Thursdays in a mushroom gravy. No, now I'm starving. Ooh. All right. So anyway, London's great. So if you haven't gone, go. It's fucking huge. I actually haven't really ever been. I've been in like Mayfair, which is an area. I've been in Knightsbridge. I've been Soho because it's the gay area.
Sure. Oh yeah,
they have a Chinatown there. It was fun. I don't know.
The transit kind of shuts down early though, right? Isn't that kind of? Don't you have to kind of be on the train by midnight, or you got to take a cab?
I don't know if the tube, as they call it. Come on, Adam.
I feel like the tube is. I
don't know if it's 24/7.
I just call but so I don't call it the T when I'm talking about.
And also,
Boston.
If you're going to talk about trucks, call them lorries.
But you know what? Before the bobbies come.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah.
It. I want to say it closes early and then they do maintenance. And so it's the tube is very well maintained, I think.
Okay.
A lot better maintained than our system because of that.
I will say this: it's incredibly deep. It's older than our subway station system. It's
maybe that's why they have to maintain it so much.
Very, very deep. That they have the chuds come out at night. That's
Okay.
why they have to clean it. They have all the monsters come out.
Oh, real quick, Leo Gunn says,
"What's up, Leo?
Nice job on MLC last week.
Hey,
boys.
Hey, thanks, pal. We had a lot of fun. We had a good time. It was nice to see Kevin. I felt oddly affectionate. I mean, not oddly. It was fun. It was fun to see him. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.
I got a little choked up. It was like we did ayahuasca.
Yeah, it was like I feel like I was like visiting an uncle. You know what I mean? Like in a
uncle in a loud uncle in a headset.
Yeah, who's always like in his chair, you know, and it's kind of what it is.
The
so
desk chair.
No, it was fun. It was great. So
it was fun.
No, it was good.
Good experience.
It was a good time.
Long time coming.
Exactly. A couple of times it was funny. I was saying something and he said it at the same time. I'm like, am I fucking similar to this guy? Like, I don't even whatever. Anyway, but thank you. So anyway, with regards to what I'm making on Friday, and I've done this before. I've done heritage tables before with food, and I have to say, and I'm going to cite an example. I believe it is important if you're going to do Heritage Day, you can't just phone it in. Okay, all right.
Oh no.
So of course
not.
For example, in years past, I once had to have been at least 10 gallons of Guinness stew. And I brought it.
Delicious.
It was delicious. It really was.
Love a Guinness.
And I mean, we're talking about like lamb, the whole fucking McGillicuddy. I made it and I would bring it. And so anyways, but this time around, I decided I was going to make colcannon. And for those of you who don't know,
my porn name.
It is. It's my
colcannon.
It's my safe word.
Okay.
Colcannon. Pull it out. Pull it out. Pull it out. I can feel it in my throat. Jesus, I got to pull it out. Colcannon.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna pass out.
Yeah, dude, colcannon. The guy's
everything's fuzzy.
The guy has headphones on. He's like listening to like fucking techno and doing crystal meth off my fat back.
Party and play.
Yeah, he's like, I'm party and playing.
Party and play.
I'm trying to use my safe word, but the guy's too fucked up and listening to music.
I'm a friend of Tina.
Yeah, it's fucking my asshole's all prolapsed, hanging out. He's just licking it and chewing on my prolapsed anus as I'm yelling colcannon. Oh, it's funny. All right, no. So what colcannon is it is the national dish of Ireland.
Isn't that like coal, like COAL?
It's
like coal.
No. It's
what you get
Gaelic. It's Gaelic.
Oh, I got
And I'll tell you. You don't look it up.
I was gonna text that to myself because I like that for
I'm gonna
name.
Oh yeah. So I'm sorry, sweetheart.
No, okay, go ahead.
So colcannon. It's the national dish of Ireland, which I sort of knew, and I made it before. But when I tell you what it is so hilariously Irish that it should be like, I don't know, served on top of a Catholic Bible or something.
Yeah, for sure.
It's basically, simply put, mashed potatoes, duh. And then what you do is you take milk with a lot of butter, and then you chop up spring onions, as many as you can do, lots and lots and lots. And you put it in the milk, get that milk to simmer, okay? And then you boil cabbage, thank you very much. And then you drain that cabbage. And a little trick you can do, which I learned on YouTube, which wasn't mine, but there's some fat guy was making colcannon. And you take that cabbage. At this point, you can just put that cabbage in the potatoes and you mash it all up and you put some spring onions on top and you're good to go. However, you take the extra step of sauteing the cabbage, not until it's browned, but just to kind of give it a little flavor, kind of kick it up a little bit. Right, exactly. So that's what you do. It's basically mashed potatoes, and you fold in the cabbage and with that milk that you made, and then you put a big fucking knob of butter in the middle of it, and then you scatter spring onions on top of it. Butter.
Bit of a ripper.
If anybody's ever read Leon Uris's Trinity, the whole book is the beginning of it. You can tell how rich someone is in Ireland.
That pan screaming hot.
They can go.
That was Australian.
Oh, that was good. That was good. In Ireland, from the book Trinity, which Leon Uris wrote in the very beginning. It's a very poor family, but the priest comes, so he gets the butter. They give him butter on his bread.
Butter, yeah.
Pull out the butter. Here comes
I love my Irish butter.
Yeah. Oh, it's delicious.
I always have some Kerrygold.
I got it. Trust me.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm making 20 pounds of colcannon. So I have I think I've spent about $120 on butter, which with these tariffs is one stick. Am I right?
Right.
So anyway, so I'm making colcannons, and there's some mom who's also doing something Irish. I don't even know. And And also, full disclosure, my family came over in the 1840s.
Not expressing her feelings. Is that what she's doing? Something
she's
Irish?
biting her lip.
She's
right. Yeah, you think you're grand, don't you? Oh,
using the pull-out method.
Yeah, you think you're grand. Look at you with your
so
colcannon.
Grand. M. You know, notice Irish people, they don't say they say M.
She's like, we'll all die alone, children.
It's lovely.
There's nothing but darkness after life. Like, what? Excuse me? She's like this bitter old lady. Anyway, but it's funny because I used to have these epic St. Patrick's Day parties, and because my grandparents did, so I thought it'd be fun. So I have a box full. I have every county in Ireland. I have every fucking flag. I have shillelaghs. I have all this shit.
Wow.
So I told this
Irish accoutrements.
Yes, I told this mom. I was like, "Do you want?" I don't even know her. My first text message to her was subject line: "Do you want to go fucking nuts on Friday?"
Yes.
And so,
do you party?
Yeah, do you party?
Subject
yeah.
RE. Do you party?
Colcannon. It's a safe word. I'm like, I looked you up on Facebook. You look nice.
Okay.
How about a body shot for the boy? Anyway, she was very nice. We started text
She's an Irish gal.
I don't know.
Okay.
Her last name is Cahill. Cahill. I don't know.
It could be. Yeah, that could be.
No, it definitely is, but I don't know if she's like from Ireland. Who knows? But what she did tell me, which I thought was funny, was she said and this is over an email. She goes, a dad apparently, like, she did one of these at another school where her son goes, and she said a dad did the Irish table, but all he had were potato chips and orange soda.
What?
Because I guess Irish, they do eat a lot of potato chips in Ireland, and I bet they probably eat more chips and drink more soda than they eat fucking colcannon. But I thought it was really
right. Hey, we got a Irish related.
What do you got, buddy?
Thing from Gustav.
What do you have, Gustav?
I have a grandparent that's Irish, and I visited the rest of the family in the motherland, and I wouldn't say the cuisine was the highlight of the trip. Yeah, it's not known for being on the cut.
There's one.
Not France.
I've been to Ireland, I think 4 or 5 times, and there's one town starts with a D, not Donegal, but there's one town that's like considered their like culinary epicenter over there. I will say I went to the Oyster Festival in Galway one year, a while ago, of course, and they had oysters, and their oysters were really good. But what was wild is, ours are really cold. Over there, they were like room temperature.
Yeah, well, they're all about the room temperature. They drink the Guinness room temperature.
Yeah. And then I remember I went into a pub by myself, and this guy came in with like a bunch of little kids that were all in those karate gis.
Okay.
So I challenged all of them to a fight.
To a duel. I said it was like kung fu. I don't want any trouble.
There's a picture somewhere of me with like 9 Irish boys that are about 10 years old, and they're all hanging off me, and I have them in headlocks, and I'm just fucking hammered. And it's 2 in the afternoon.
Right. I will say Irish people were the most hospitable people that I encountered.
Yeah,
in the UK.
I am just very conscious.
Or not the UK.
I'm very conscious of not being that Irish American who's like, my family's from Cork.
Right.
I just don't want to even. I don't want to do that.
It's a weird thing that people are very. Well, I guess too, like Italian people are very excited about being.
Yeah,
but I know
really,
some of my uncles are kind of that way.
Yeah,
and we're like barely. I think we're barely Irish because I'm the only one that did like my genetics.
Right,
and like we don't have much Irish.
Well, what's funny is my daughter, we did 23andMe for her, and I've done it. My wife's done it, and hers came back, and I'm like 78% like Irish and UK, and then the rest is like French and fucking German or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it comes out I'm 98 point something European, and there's the rest is like there's nothing really there. My daughter is like 99.1 European, and so it's interesting. It's not really interesting, but it was just funny.
I will say it is interesting how people think that there are a lot of things.
Yes.
But nobody ever like does the fucking thing. They just go like, no, we're this. And they identify with this. And it's like all of my uncles, like they probably think they're way more Irish than they actually are.
Well, it's like my grandmother was old as shit. She was 40 when she had my mom. So she was born, I think, I want to say like 1911. I mean, she's passed. And, she died when she was almost 100, but her parents were both from Rome. So they were, there's pictures of them in my mom's house. One guy's a big fucking mustache. And I mean, these pictures are like from like 1880 or something. It's crazy. And, but But the point is that when I did my DNA, you would think that I'd have a huge chunk of Italian, right? You would think,
Right.
because these
Yeah.
people.
Yep.
No, I'm like 3% Italian.
Yeah, like
It doesn't
barely.
doesn't even make any
Barely
sense.
at
It's
all.
weird. So
Yeah.
just because your grandparents are this and that, everyone's from everywhere. So
Yeah.
anyway, so that's why an hour later we're doing this show on a Wednesday instead of a Friday. But last week we'll give you an update, and Adam is going to have more of an update than me. So maybe I'll just ask you questions.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So just
lay it on me.
Just to recap. And also, this isn't me being like obnoxious, but really a lot of what I'm talking about happened on the Patreon.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember.
Yes, because
when
I
talk of Howard.
I just got the two clips from Nick. Hello, Nick. And in one of them, I say, when Howard says something very funny, and I say, "Wow, Howard, you really woke up for the Patreon."
Yeah.
So,
Well, because he didn't say hardly a fucking word.
He didn't. He really didn't. So
during the free show,
I think he was freaked out. But my point is that I'm not doing this as saying, "Oh, go join the Patreon." I mean, if you want to, great. Yeah. But I'm just going to give you the very broad strokes of what happened on the Patreon. So essentially, Audrey Hollander was still here. Great guest, a lot of fun. Lainey hit me up and said how much fun she had.
Okay, good.
Blah blah blah. And that was that. And so for the Patreon, it was just more of that. So with Howard's birthday, he was 76. We had a little cake. That all happened during the free
show. I can't believe
show.
we thought he was 75, but he was 70. He was actually 76.
I had no idea.
It's amazing.
I didn't know. I thought he could have even been 72 or 90. I don't even know.
Hard to say.
75 just seemed like a good number. So anyway, so now we're on the Patreon, and Audrey Hollander has a very active OnlyFans, apparently. Robust. And so somewhere Howard says to her, "How do you feel about senior sex?" Okay. And I thought he meant like a Mexican porn star, senior sex.
He said senior porn.
Yeah.
Senior porn.
So, senior porn.
I just watched the clip. Yeah.
Okay, good. For senior porn.
Senior porn.
And to her credit, she was completely nonplussed. And she was like, "Oh, you want to make some content?" And he was kind of like, "Yes, but I'm going to run for Congress. I'm not going to run you through the whole thing. It's funny." Yeah. But my point is at the end of the Howard, during this episode of the Patreon, we more or less established that Howard was going to come to her hotel Friday morning because she's leaving Friday afternoon, going back to California.
Yeah, she was leaving at noon.
Okay,
so it would have to be early.
We would have
made time.
We would have made it work. I get text messages from Howard at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
so I would
listen. I'm up early too, so I mean.
We all would have made it work.
Yeah.
So I had to run out to go do something, to another school thing. Actually, I'm like Father of the Year this week. Great. Don't get used to it. Bless you.
Sorry.
And so I had to run out. So Adam was here with Howard and Audrey. And when I left, it wasn't in stone necessarily, but the idea was because, and again, this is all on the Patreon, but Howard didn't want to wear a condom. Howard wanted to get an AIDS test by Friday. He was worried that he's going to.
Yeah, we knew. I think you and I both knew that none of that was going to happen. He's a huge pain in the ass. So we said, "How about a hand job?"
That's exactly right. We said, "How about a hand job?" So right when I left, the idea, and again, it was more than an idea, but it wasn't booked. And Audrey was very amenable to this.
She was. I think she did seem a little bit like, "I'm going along with this."
Yeah. Well,
for the show.
Well, in any event,
okay.
Spoiler alert, it didn't happen.
Right.
But so when I left, the idea was maybe that Adam and I were going to show up at her hotel really early. Apparently Howard was going to meet us there, and then Adam was going to hold one of our phones. And do I have like
I was good. I agreed to.
I go buy a burner Galaxy 7 for that.
No, I agreed to. I was like, is it okay if it's just a couple of phones? We'll bring some lights. Like it was fine. Like I have like smaller LEDs. It could all fit in a backpack.
And I would have done a little content. It would have been. Listen, it would have been a thing. And when I left, it was going. I felt like it was. We were.
Yeah, I think just to lay it all on the table. Afterwards, I think the only person that actually thought it was going to happen was you, because I did not get a vibe from them at all. That there was not a word spoken about it afterwards.
Okay. So anyway, and now, and not to bury the lead here, but Howard is sneezing and coughing the
Yes.
entire time while he's sitting here. It's a wonder we're all still alive. I think he has Spanish influenza.
Well, okay, so yeah, he comes to the door. I answer the door. His voice is 3 octaves lower than it normally is,
Right.
and I'm like, "Buddy, you good?" And he looks like fucking fried hell.
He did.
And I'm like, "Are you good? Like, what's up?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, these allergies." And I'm like, "Oh, yep. Thank God it's just allergies." Because I fucking am already like, I'm constantly getting sick.
Okay.
And I try to limit my
Sure.
exposure when I'm sick.
So
So I was a little bit like, what the fuck are you even doing
What
here?
you're saying is you didn't do the standard tongue kiss
No,
with
yeah,
Howard?
no,
You
not-
didn't-
not-
you didn't,
not-
you didn't give him a good Frencher?
You bet. Reach around at the door.
You didn't lick the inside of his nose?
I was already a little bit like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I get it. It's like, I guess it was his big day, so he was not going to cancel.
The show must go on.
But as he's
a pro.
Was here and was like, I could hear his phlegmy cough.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, this guy is like fucking sick. He's 76 years old.
Yeah.
He should be home resting.
Right.
Like, we could have done this another time.
Well, we couldn't have done that another time, but we could have had
but
him on.
with a different whatever.
Yes,
I mean, listen,
absolutely.
there was synergy there. And by all means, I think if we had pushed, it could have happened. But here's the thing, got her number. We all ended up hanging out and having coffee afterwards.
Right.
So like, she's down to do this. Like,
Right.
it's
Sure.
still totally on the table, but it was not going to happen at 8 a.m. Friday because this guy, I'm like, this dude, first of all, should not even be around people right now.
Right.
And also, like, he seemed, especially when we left, like, he seemed miserable and was just like
to your
coughing
point,
and.
To your point, when you and Audrey were leaving to go to the coffee shop, he was sleeping on my couch.
Yeah, he was. I woke because she was like, I want another coffee. I had 2 hours to kill before I had to be downtown. I'm like, you want to grab a coffee? Howard has a coffee shop that he likes that's right down the street that I've like walked him to the door of before. Right. And on my way to the train.
Sure.
And so I'm like, Howard, I literally woke Howard up. I'm like, you want to get a coffee? And she was just happy to like hang out or whatever.
He's like pissed himself. He's like laying in a puddle of sweat.
And he was like, yeah,
sure.
And I'm like, we can go to the place where, the place he goes on the west side. They have an east side location, so he like knows the guy or whatever.
Right.
Like, we go to the place. He was like, yeah, great. And then we all went, had a coffee, hung out for an hour and some change or whatever.
That's a long time.
And then I kind of was trying to like maybe slip out and leave them alone.
He wouldn't.
But I think as soon as I was like, well, I got to get downtown. She was like, well, I'm going to grab a bite. Do you guys want to have some lunch? And I'm like, I got to go. I actually have to go. And then he was like, no, I gotta get going. So it didn't really work. I tried to kind of facilitate a little more, but it was one of those things where just all the details, the fact that it had to be at 8 a.m.
Right.
I had sort of limited time because I had other shit going on that day. I would have had to really thread the needle.
Yeah, but let me jump in for a second. Howard was a pain in the ass, like about it.
Oh,
and, okay. And let's just go with the supposition that he's sick, not feeling, he's not 100%.
Yeah. So it was definitely,
I get all
colored
that
by that.
But the opportunity was certainly right there, and she was there so really, if he was at, I mean, I'll give it to Howard. If he was at 100%, and didn't start talking about he's going to run for Congress.
Well, there was a weird exchange. I don't know if you were in the room. There was a weird exchange afterwards where he was like, "Are you coming to my birthday party?"
Yes.
And she was like, "Well, I'm flying out Friday," and he was like, "Well, move your flight."
Yeah, and then she was like,
"I would." She was like, "I will, but you got to like
pay for
like the hotel and the I mean, she was just like, "Listen, I'm a mercenary here. I go where the wind blows."
Exactly.
And I think there was a bit of like a moment there where he was like, "Oh, like there's money involved with this," and I think she kind of called his bluff a little bit. And that from that point on, there was no mention of it.
Yeah. Well, again, so to summarize, so we can just move on, I guess. Howard was sort of, we organically, Audrey was a great guest and she was a lot of fun. She was very sweet and she would shoot content with Howard.
Yeah.
And it could have all gone.
And I think will in the future. I got her number. She was very cool. I walked her to I said, try Luke's Lobster because she wanted to grab just a quick lunch. I'm like,
sure.
I walked her to the fucking Luke's Lobster. We said goodbye.
Banged her in the bathroom.
Yeah, fucked her
good.
fucked her on the condiment station.
Yeah.
No, and like she was just a
She's
fun
like-
time gal.
You're like fucking her. She's like, no condom. Are you tested? You go, well, I've been arrested. She's like, that's not the thing. You blow your load while you say that. Tested. I've been arrested. Oh,
But the thing was,
here come the babies.
the thing that I regret about it was, well, the fact that Howard was like, he was under the weather. So Howard is normally, I feel like he could have been like a bit more charming, but because he felt like shit,
Ebullient. Yes.
He was a little abrasive about it, and that's not really how he is.
Yes, exactly.
He's actually kind of a sweet
Yes,
guy.
he is.
And so like the tone was all off, but I will say I was impressed that he went for it, because remember the whole thing was like, Howard talks a big game, but we weren't sure if he would really go for it when put in a situation. He went for it.
But like I said, if we could have, if you want to put it on us, you can put it on us. But if we were to if Audrey was perfect. She was great. She was everything.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I mean, it'd be really funny if I went on her OnlyFans and I click on a video and I buy it for $5 and she's giving Howard a hand job in my kitchen.
That'd be amazing.
I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Afterwards, how crazy would that have been if
just
by the time you're like, oh, so we doing the thing, and I'm like, no, we did it. After you left, we did it, and like.
Howard licked his own cum out of your dryer.
I wonder if you want to go like really seize the moment, if you would have been like, what, can we just do it now?
Yes. I'm sure
if she would have done
Audrey,
I feel like she would have done it.
I agree. However, if she didn't agree, she'd probably feel like pressured to do it. Yeah. So we wouldn't. But I think you wouldn't
have pressed her, but just
lock the door.
Out. Yeah,
lock the door.
Yeah,
I'm like, listen, Audrey, you want to
going anywhere?
Yeah, it goes from really fun to me just like stroking my chin and going, I have murder on my mind. But what I'm saying is okay. Let's say I leave, right? Yeah. And Howard is here, Audrey's there, and you just go, hey guys, I have a crazy idea. There's no cameras here, but I do have my phone. I can move one of these lights. You want to just try and do this right now?
That's
Howard?
all we were going to do was just a couple of panel lights.
I wouldn't have minded. I know.
Well, I don't know if your fucking family was coming home. Could you imagine?
Yes, I can actually. Yeah, it
would have been. Wouldn't be the first time. Okay,
you would have heard the door. It's a long hallway to get down here. Pretty much.
We would have said pineapple.
Yeah. He could have put his dick in the wine cooler or something. I don't know. He could have figured it out. So that's what happened. So if you want the whole story, you can go to Patreon if you want. But that really is.
But that was honestly really the only thing was he was clearly ill. He's a 76-year-old man. He was not well.
No.
But I will say, like, as I was playing it out in my mind, I was like, wow, I might have to actually see like Howard
his cock
fully nude, because I would imagine they would like want to.
Oh my god,
disrobe.
No, I don't imagine.
No, you think he just pulls it out?
I think he pulls
actually. You know what? That's not that bad. But I would have to see Howard's dick. But I was really like, I was like, I might have to actually do this, and then I may have to edit it. And like send it to her.
You know, it'd be funny if Howard pulls his cock out and you look at it and you start getting hard and you're like, am I attracted to old Jewish men? Oh my God. All I want to do is put that thing in my mouth. Could you imagine? You knock Audrey over and just start blowing.
Becomes
Howard.
A totally different scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're crying while you do it. You're like, I'm sorry. I need this. I need your gravy. Give me your gravy, Howard.
Give me your gravy.
Yeah, give me your gravy. Yeah. Well, again, I think had I left, you did it, but Howard wasn't 100%. But it was fun.
He was not even 50. Like he was, but it changed the tone of the whole thing because Howard is normally this kind of sweet older Jewish guy, and he was being kind of like, by all means, unless that was like his persona for.
He was being kind of
ladies.
I would say he was being caustic.
Yeah,
and what I'd say about that is I have seen him be a little prickly. You know. He wasn't feeling well, and but it was funny how the minute she said, you want to shoot some content, he started talking himself like out of it. It was like watching somebody.
Think?
Yeah, he's like, well, do I have to wear a condom? I might run for Congress. Like all this stuff. Like all you have to do is
the Congress thing. I think he was joking because he went, "Is that going to be a problem?" He kind of looked at me like he was being cute.
I didn't realize you and Howard were having a moment of joking.
He was being cute.
Oh well, why don't you guys do a show, the Howard interview show? Fuck it, everyone's off. That's it. I don't care
I
anymore.
would say the other way around. You two do a fucking show.
This was
from
all
a
I had.
bench.
This was all I had, and now I have nothing. Are you happy? You have taken
I
everything
am.
from me.
Mhm.
Take these panel
I'm
lights.
not only happy, I'm
Yeah,
hard as a rock right now.
Yeah, you're like, I wish I had an old man's cock to suck.
Yeah,
Anyway, so yeah, so it didn't work out. That's all right.
didn't work out. But I also, I don't think
Well-
anybody actually thought it was going to happen.
And what I was, I can't remember if I actually said this part or not, but what I was going to do, ultimately it wouldn't have happened because I didn't want to spend the money. I was weirdly cheap about it. It just, but I found somebody on Trist who would have come here and we would have paid her, I think, $750.
Okay.
And she would have been here for 2 hours and she would have we didn't know it was going to be a hand job. I didn't know what, but we were going to have that.
And she was okay with being on camera?
Yeah. She was kind of a pain in the ass. It was actually kind of funny because I hit her up on her, like, I don't know, her, like, actually they have your email. I had her email and I was like, hey, podcast, but this isn't a real thing. Then she's like, well, my rate is this. And then I was like, well, you'd be on camera. Hopefully you're okay with that. Like, I'm trying to, I said, but we put this thing on YouTube. So, you can't like fucking be naked. But and then she responded to her email. She's like, I'm not wearing a swimsuit the entire time I'm there. And you can take 4 pictures. I was like,
yeah, any of these. Oh, this was the one you told me about. Yeah, those, I feel like that's a pain in the ass. Honestly, somebody like Audrey,
great.
I mean, had we known her and worked that out ahead of time, she would have done all of this stuff that you were talking about.
Right.
She would have had no problem with it.
Although,
and been a trooper.
Weirdly, I would have felt like we had to pay her.
You pay her a little bit, but maybe not $700.
No, Venmo.
But also, like, it could be just like she has an OnlyFans that she's trying to promote. So it could be promotional.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be really funny if like she does it and we give her one of those giant novelty checks, like
big
sweepstakes,
and we have like a ribbon cutting to present it to her.
And it just says subject line, just says hand job.
Yes.
And it's a big check.
Online YouTube hand job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
What even is that?
Yeah. So anyway, so that was it. So, we have no guest today, and that was the last show that we did, and that was that. Yeah. And I'm glad that we're doing this. I told you before the show, I was feeling kind of maudlin.
Yeah, what's that about? Why are you feeling?
I don't know.
And also, what does that mean?
Oh, sad.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, for those of you who pay attention, my neighbor upstairs, who I used to be, very friendly with, but we had a big leak, which turned into, a flood, enough of a flood where there's wood is all buckling and it went through the ceiling and the wall. And we had a mitigator here and they fucking went around and showed me the humidity in the floor and all that bullshit. So the guy wanted to pay for it himself. And then it was too expensive. Then he wanted to bring in his contractor who gave an estimate before even looking at the thing. It just got really unnecessarily ugly. And the first thing I should have done, I have such a desperate need to be liked.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Why? Do you not like me because
mostly
of that?
because you tell me that.
Okay, fair enough.
I wouldn't. Well, I noticed things, but it mostly was brought to my attention because you told me.
I understand. My pleading eyes.
Yeah.
Yes. Daddy, are you my daddy? Are you my drunk daddy? My daddy plays lacrosse. Anyway, so we had the water come down, and I should have just said, when he was like, I want to pay for it myself, I should have just said, no, insurance to insurance, blah, blah, blah. But I said no. And honestly, I spent probably in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 hours, like finding a place to live.
Yeah.
I had a guy come
doing
over
all
here,
the legwork
doing
yourself.
everything, like for this guy to make his life easier, and it's his fault. His wife left the fucking water on. So, and now he's coming in. I'm getting all angry about it. Yeah. And now that he says in a text message, and I know I probably said this already, so forgive me, I'm sorry, but he said in the text message, like, you're trying to take advantage of me, or I won't be taken advantage of. And I'm like, by the way, we used to go to lunch a lot.
Yeah.
And I would pick up a check and he would pick up a check. I pick up a check, and he would always say, Brian, you need to be loved. No, he would say, Brian, you are the only friend that actually picks up checks because I pay for everything. And I would say, honestly, well, it's not fair. And I'm not having lunch with you because you're taking me to lunch. I'm having lunch because I wanted to have lunch with you. Right. And that's it. And blah, blah, blah. And so the irony is, in my opinion, this guy probably gets taken
Mhm.
advantage of, fairly often.
Well, it's like dueling catharsis. Like you have your shit and you're constant. You're like, I need to be loved.
Sure.
I need your approval.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Right.
These are kind of your words.
And he's cheap.
And he probably has baggage with fucking being taken advantage of.
Well, what was funny is he accused the situation of us taking advantage of him.
Sure.
And I was just like, dude, we're replacing the floor that your wife fucked up. Anyway,
right.
So I woke up today. So I'm not taking, and the only reason.
No, I know that you're not, but I'm just saying that he probably has had that happen before.
I probably, yes, you're right.
I would imagine.
I mean, the guy's 64 years old, so I'm sure he has,
he's got some money. Like he's overpaid a few times probably for things. And so he's hyper.
Right.
He's hypersensitive to it, even when somebody's not trying to do that.
This was the wrong flower to land on for that, because I'm not trying to get over at God.
This shit happens all the time in relationships, friendships. It's just
and there's more stuff which I can't get into. But
I know.
Sure. The pregnancy.
He got your butt pregnant, and then you tried to extort him to get
by the way,
an abortion.
I took a poop right before the show, and then when I jumped in the shower, I was soaping up my asshole. Everyone can jerk off now. And I noticed like my butthole. I think I'm prolapsing a little bit. I think it's going to go back.
You've been talking about this for years.
Well,
you're like,
it was pronounced today.
I feel like one time you asked me, when you go to the bathroom, do you have to kind of like
move
the meat around? I was like,
move
I don't
the
think,
meat.
No, I don't.
Well, let's just say if my asshole was a bay, the tide is high.
Okay.
I don't know, but I just sort of pushed it back up in there a little bit.
Have you ever had like a hernia?
No.
Okay.
Never.
Are you prone to constipation? I don't know why I'm a doctor all this
well,
but
I take Ozempic, so yes.
Okay, but before this was I remember talking about this at your place on the west side.
Yeah. Like, yes, I'm not like, and especially when I drank a lot, I would get bound up, I guess.
Okay. Because I've known people that have had issues where they were constipated and they would like push too much.
Yes.
And they would cause.
Oh, that's what's happening with
weird,
me.
like,
like
Ren and Stimpy sound effects.
Exactly right. Well, I just do not want to have my asshole operated on because Jim Jeffries had piles, which is essentially like, tons and tons of hemorrhoids, I guess. A pile of hemorrhoids. Yeah. Hey, Jim, I'm sure you're thrilled. I'm telling people. I think he doesn't give a fuck.
Piles.
Yeah.
I got piles. Yeah, I bet his pronunciation of that was
piles.
Piles.
Yeah,
Brian, I got piles.
Yeah. He but anyway, I would talk to him while that was happening, and he was like, it's fucking miserable having like surgery on your asshole, So look, if my butthole comes out a little bit when I poop and I have to push it back in, so that's just something like
cost of doing business.
I'm just going to live with that.
Yes.
So nobody's back there licking it or anything. But I will say, on the subject of licking my asshole, it's springtime and I've been feeling very randy. Like, it's
mating
interesting.
Season.
Yeah, I feel like I want to rut.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's good and bad.
Have you? I don't know if you want to go into this.
I know what you're saying,
but I was going to ask you this: has anything with your meds or anything moved around? Like, have you?
The erectile dysfunction.
Well, or anything, any.
I see what you're saying. No, it's all still the same. I mean, without getting into the specifics of the situation, it's just there have to be certain parameters for intimacy, and it's very difficult to meet those parameters.
To be with a man.
Yeah, a young man, though. Honestly,
a man against his will.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Like, if you have to look like I'm going to jail. You know what I mean? I want your hair to smell like hay. Anyway, so that's what I'll say is that, the way that that intimacy would happen, it has to it's sort of like in this tight window, and it's just rough right now. So
time window?
No.
Oh,
but I'm trying to make the make the analogy of like there's certain things, like just like no people to be home, and plus like and now we have this new dog that fucking barks at me when I walk past it. So
sure,
we're gonna have to she'll probably come out and it should probably bite my prolapsed anus.
Maybe.
I wouldn't mind
on your.
I mean, chew it off. I don't. Instead of having to get it fixed,
cheaper.
I tell my doctor, I'm like, my dog just chewed off my asshole. It's fine. It wasn't really my asshole. It was like a part of my colon or something. So anyway, how do I work a colostomy bag?
Mhm.
So anyway, that's the thing. Should we jump over?
We can chat for a little while
Okay,
longer.
good.
We're
I
a
wasn't
little
sure.
early, but I'm curious about. Well, so
Go ahead.
you said you've been feeling more randy.
I have been. Well, oh, by the way, I found a new kind of porn vein, which I think is no pun intended.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. I like it when a porn person, porn star, amateur porn person, OnlyFans, whatever, when they have sex with a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that too.
Exactly
Fuck
right.
a fan.
However, there's a guy that I know who produces that. He does something called Immoral Live, and he has blonde dyed hair, and he's actually from fucking Baltimore, and I'm blanking on his name, but when I lived in LA, I would see him a few times at parties, and we would introduce each other. But that guy is like, he does a weird show where he hosts the show and people have like sex, and sometimes he also has sex, which is like, no thank you. So I don't like watching porn where I know the guy. Where the girl, absolutely, but
Right.
I don't like knowing this guy. It's just, anyway, so there's that. So you have to sort of really kind of separate the wheat from the chaff. So what I do is I search, Google search, porn fan appreciation, homemade amateur hotel video.
Okay.
You put all those words in, right? You can just hear my computer going like chugga 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 chugga. And there's this
old modem, dial-up modem.
Yeah, there's a server
sound.
melting somewhere in the Gobi Desert. Anyway, so my point is like all of that. So now what you get when you say that is you get a lot of clips of a girl being like, "Hey, this is a guy coming." But I'll tell you what's funny is the real ones are almost universally disgusting because it's always some big fat weird guy.
Okay.
And he sits on the bed, and then before you know it, he's laying on the bed with his like socks on, and he's wearing a t-shirt, and she's like pushing his stomach up with her hands to blow
Trying to
him.
get his little acorn cock.
It's just the worst. So that's interesting to watch, but that's not going to get the job done.
No.
But the other side of it is where they're faking and it's not really a fan, because that one, it's always like, she's like, "Hey guys, listen, I'm so excited because my fans, I love my fans. Well, I met a fan and he's coming over now. I'm so excited." And, of course, you don't ever really see the fan. It's all POV, and the guy has like an 11-inch dick, and, you see his hand has like flame tattoos on it. You're like, this is your boyfriend.
Yeah.
If your hand has flame tattoos on it, this is your boyfriend.
Yeah.
But so once in a while, it's a rare bird where you get like a girl, and some of them are like really real. Like there's one, this blonde girl, great body, covered in tattoos, and this guy is not a horribly fat guy, but he's pretty fat or whatever, and he's having sex with her, and he says something along the lines of like, man, I'm really getting what I paid for. And she like turns around and she's like, "Yeah, you like this pussy I'm paying for?" Like, it was like weird. It was a weird, like, it was like role play where he was paying her and they filmed the content or something. I don't know. So that's been the new thing. So, but we're having a lot of work done in the bathroom. There's always a guy here from like 9 a.m. till 4.
Sure.
So, and that's the bathroom. It's in our bedroom. So I'm not, what am I going to do? Like, I can't, so it's hard. I'm having a difficult time masturbating. I'm not getting laid and I'm horny.
Yeah.
So it's a great combination.
Wow. Listen, at least the sort of get up and go is still there.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Because I'll go through, there's peaks and valleys where I'm just like, there'll be times where I'm like, oh boy, am I hitting that age?
Well, I wonder, look, I'm very happily married. I love my wife very much. And I wonder, like, when I look at like single people, I don't really know that many single people, but I wonder how I would, and again, this is just academically,
right?
I wonder how I would do it. Like, I have no idea if I'm even good looking or not. Like, I don't know. I kind of think I'm a real goober, but I've managed to pull some numbers, and I've gotten some really hot, I've convinced some really hot girls to let me give them terrible sex. So there's something.
Yeah.
So, but it is interesting. Like, I'm just like, oh, I wonder if I'm even like something that somebody would even like want to have sex with, or like, I've lost all this weight. Maybe that's not that I lost the weight to have sex with people, but like, I just gotta wonder sometimes. I'm like, fan appreciation.
Yeah, it is a weird thing.
Yeah,
where like time, because I've been out of, like, you've been out of the game way longer than I have.
Yeah, and
I'm like, I don't know what.
Yeah.
where I would even really fit.
I'm going to be 52 next month. I mean, it's fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny though. I will say this. I know guys, one friend in particular that was married to a woman, very, very attractive girl. And this is out in California. And it was funny because Jocelyn and I would go to dinner with them a little bit. And she was always very loving. And this guy, like, you could tell he was like totally annoyed by her and blah, blah, blah. So fast forward like a couple years later, and I actually went to Florida with Mia, and this guy had relocated his whole life to Florida, and he's living there. And I met up with him, and he was like a mess. He was like really upset. He was either crying or like about to cry. We're like sitting in his car in Jupiter, Florida, like in a parking lot outside of a liquor store, which is pretty much where all of my interactions, all the good stuff happens.
Yeah,
behind a dumpster.
Parking lot at the liquor depot.
Yeah, exactly. It was so funny because we were all at the beach, and I left to go get like all this wine. I was like, we need wine.
Yeah.
So I dropped like $1,000 on like a case of really good wine because I wanted to drink like really good white wine on the beach. I still do, by the way, that I can't. Yeah. But so he's talking to me, and he was saying, he was like, because his wife was leaving him, and they have kids, and but he was really in the throes of like, and in the back of my mind, I was like, you weren't really happy, but you can't really say that. I was like, look, I'm really sorry. And then all I could think of to say was like, look, it's going to get better. And fast forward like 6 months, and this guy is getting so much pussy that he can't. And again, I'm not saying, but like I actually now he has a serious girlfriend. He'll probably get married again, which is, hey, that's his business. But every divorced guy that I know, I was talking to a guy the other day who he and his wife had a really messy divorce. And he said the day they got divorced, he like met some girl or some woman like on a fucking in a bar or something. I don't know. I mean, when my old girlfriend Kim, when I broke up with Kim, that night I broke up with Kim, I went out and I had sex with the girl that had like 11 piercings in her vagina. Like,
yeah, I think you get to a certain age, and when you kind of don't give a fuck, that helps a lot.
And that was also a while ago, but yeah, you're right. I mean, look, I tell the young people, but no, like just, I think you're right. When you get older, you just take your shot.
You just kind of don't. Yeah. It's just almost like, I'm just kind of doing my job. Cause I used to be very timid and very sort of like afraid of rejection when I was even up until like my probably mid-20s. And then, but you get to a point where you go, yeah, I don't like, who even gives a fuck?
Like, for example, about a month ago, Jocelyn and I were at this tile store, and we're looking at tile, and the girl showing us around the tile was very cute, very, very cute. And I remember thinking to myself, and she wasn't like being like, she was like, oh, buy this tile, I'll suck your dick.
She wasn't tile porn.
She wasn't like you tile porn.
Property sex.
You need a saddle for your tile. How about some finishing tile, you big queer?
So colored grouts.
But I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't know. I wonder if I was like here for some reason I was like a divorced guy.
Yeah.
And I'm in here, and I just say to her, like, look, I know this is probably weird, but you want to get dinner or something? You want to give me your phone number? It might be fun, right? We could have a good time. You seeing anybody? And she goes, yeah, I'm seeing somebody. Go, well, okay, that's cool. All right. Well, are you on social media?
Yeah, that's what you got. Just doing my job.
Yeah.
But
I would follow it up and go, why are you being such a bitch?
Yeah, I'm not even interested. I just meant like to be friends.
Yes. God, I don't want to fucking.
You act all like
I could smell your pussy through those pants, you fucking skank. Yeah. Just run out crying. I call my ex-wife. She's like, stop calling me when you strike out with girls. You were the one. I didn't love you, but I had you. She's like, Jesus Christ. I'm so glad I divorced this fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
But I don't. Yeah, sometimes I wonder the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, how would that even work? Because I've had a couple little but over the last, I don't know, 10 years, I've had mostly long relationships, but I've had some stints where I was single, and it was pretty good. But I think it was because I was not wanting anything.
Right.
The less you want it, the more it felt. That's like why, they always say like married guys are like, sometimes, women are, it's because if you're like happily married and you're not trying,
the forbidden fruit,
the more.
Yeah. Right.
I even had a situation where years ago, it was a customer of mine at a place, and she was like, admittedly, I don't think I could close the deal. Like, I think she was out of my league. I know that sounds like cliche or whatever, but she was very well put together, very well to do, we'll just say. And I was in a relationship at the time. I was
Okay.
happily in a
Right,
relationship.
right.
And so the guy she met was just like very loose and fun
Right.
and not trying. And I think she may have been attracted to that guy.
Sure.
In a way.
And that you are that guy.
Then, but
Uh-oh.
then I had a bad breakup, and then I encountered this woman when I was single.
Okay.
And the pressure, because like I was like, holy shit, this lady is
You
fucking
blew it.
she's a real fox, right?
Right.
And but the pressure of it, I mean, it also might have just been because she wasn't actually interested. But one of those situations where you're like, you're talking to a lady and she's kind of like lingering, and you're like, holy shit, I have to end the conversation with this chick or whatever, right? Like you wouldn't think that would happen. And so then when it finally came down to I was single, she was single, I got her number, and then it was like she didn't ghost me, but it was like very limited response. She clearly was not interested. She liked me as like a buddy, you know?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I would get so worked up about girls. I couldn't even fucking stand it. There was this girl, Emily Holmes, and she was the nicest. She was like, I went to a middle school and I was there and I was a city kid, so I looked poor. And my first day of school, I went to her beautiful house and she organized my like trapper keeper. She was like, this is what you do. And I'm sitting
like
there,
a humanitarian.
and she had blonde hair and she was so fucking pretty. And I remember like after that, the next day she was like, so did you use your whatever thing? And I was like, no. Like she was like stupid or something, you know? And then from there,
negged her.
but I didn't know I was negging her.
No.
And you know what's funny? I legitimately was like, what is she think I'm an idiot? I'm not gonna. I ended up failing 7th grade, but you know. But anyway, so like, but I remember like I would walk into like a room, and if she came in the room, I would like have to leave. Like I'd like my eyes would start spinning. I have like a seizure almost. You know, like I couldn't fucking deal with it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So would you interact with her?
No,
at all?
I really couldn't. Like I couldn't even like get.
So you would have like a full on meltdown.
Okay. You know, like South Park, when Stan like vomits when the little girl comes by him. That was pretty much me.
Basically, yeah.
And
holy shit.
I really fixated on her, and that was wild. And then but yeah, so and there's been Stephanie Redinger. Remember her? How you doing?
Oh
Stephanie?
Yeah, she wasn't the one we had on the show, was it?
No,
that was
Nancy Franklin. Yep.
Yeah.
Who I definitely I think I more loved Nancy than had a crush on her. I was like, well, you know, I was like 14, I think, and she was like 18, and she was so nice to me. I was just like, and now she doesn't remember who I am at all. It was so funny.
Really?
I'm like, we went to school together. I mean, you did this. Maybe you don't remember.
No,
but
she remembered you. You guys like talked about old times.
Barely. No, she remembered.
Why would she have done the show? She didn't remember you.
You're right. But I had to really number one.
You had to jog her memory.
Well, I had to like take her.
Well, she was like a hot blonde lady. Like the world was her oyster, and you know what I mean. Like there's in that situation, they're like the celebrity, and we're like the public.
I also went to a performing arts school that had 30 kids in it from kindergarten to 12th grade, so that's why like. All the girls, I got a lot of attention from girls when I was 14 in that school because I was like the only boy that was there. And I would, I mean, I know I said it a while ago, but I remember like the girls would have, they would have ballet. And then after ballet, we'd all do solfege, which is where you learn how to sing based on where the note is on the bar staff.
Okay.
Like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, right?
Yeah.
And so when you sing, it's a way to like read music. It's like cheating. You read music without the sharps and the flats. So anyway, so I remember like she and the other two girls would be in their like leotards, and they're you know they're what do you call that? Leotard.
Yeah, leotard.
Their ballet get up, and it'd be funny they had this giant like foofy fucking. Right. They didn't have the big like nutcracker. Yeah, exactly. I can't remember fucking words. So anyway, so I would go and we'd do so we'd all be around the piano. There'd be like, I don't know, 8 of us, 10 of us. And the girls would say, give us back massages.
Oh God.
So I would like give the girls,
oh my God.
And yeah, I would rub Nancy Franklin's back, shoulders. And then she'd be like, and again, I mean, I'm probably remembering, you know, but I would go all the way down to her back. And like, I had such a turgid boner. Like, I mean,
I bet.
turgid. turgid or turgid.
I don't know.
But it was like I just remember like just being like ready
Holy
to
shit.
just ready to pass out, and that was like every day. But you
no
also
blood anywhere.
like I loved
Blood.
doing it. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to stop doing it, but at the same time, I don't know. It was wild.
Yikes! And she was, you said, 4 years older.
Yeah, she was graduating, and
Oh my god.
I was in 8th grade, but I was a year older because I'd failed 7th grade. So yeah, it's funny. I've reached out to her once or twice ever since because I still think it's weird that we went to a school that had 30 kids from kindergarten to 12th grade. Like it's just fucking.
That is very strange.
It's completely weird.
It's like a Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, it is. It was a weird
house.
school, and it was run by this screaming gay guy who never acknowledged he was gay. It was funny when I was at that school. He was bald, and my mom ran into him like years later, probably about 15 years ago. And my mother said he was wearing like this insane toupee, and he had gained like
Yikes.
70 pounds. So he was like this big fat guy with like a giant toupee stuck on his head.
So he hadn't given up yet.
That's gay giving,
You know?
up. I think that's giving
Gay
up for
giving
gay.
up. I feel like the toupee, you got some fight in you.
I think you put the toupee on and you're like, I can let my body go.
Like
a
I have
little
no
bit.
self-control, like as far as
Yeah.
eating, but I'm not. At least I'm not bald.
Yeah, exactly. Check out the head of hair. Stop looking at me right in my nose. Okay.
Right.
Boy, I tell you, man, I watch toupee videos all the time.
Yeah, it's like an interest of yours.
As reels, you know, and they basically put the guy there and they shave their head all the way down and they do it. Every single time they do it, you look at their head and you go, that's a nice toupee. It doesn't look like hair.
Really, I've found them to be pretty convincing.
Oh, they're very convincing.
It depends on the one.
Yes,
but yeah.
they're very convincing toupees. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
you
but the fact that you know it's but there's also a psychology to that because you're watching the process,
right? And also to your point,
that would be a fun game show.
Oh, it is.
See if you could guess.
You
because that would be different, like to try to guess, like.
But you cannot. If someone's wearing a toupee, you cannot say anything about. I would be more, one of my good friends has a system, as they call it, and we all know about it, but you just don't.
You don't talk about.
Don't talk about it because it's trust me, it's a great idea, and I would love to do it, and I think I'd be very good at it. And
what if you found out that all this time I've had a toupee?
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Well, here's the thing. If you had a toupee, then you wouldn't let me know anyway. I feel like if you had a toupee, if you're wearing a toupee and somebody had a gun to your kid's head and they were like, is that a toupee? You would look at your kid and you just mouth.
Go, sorry, Charlie.
Yeah, you mouth and you go, I'm sorry. Or you go like, I'll see you in heaven.
Fade to black.
As the guy kills the kid. And then he's like, and the guy looks at you and goes, wow, it must be your hair then. Sorry.
Holy
I had to kill your kid. Sorry about killing your kid. But man, nobody, but yeah, toupee wearers, I feel like they're not, you just don't. But I mean, and you see them put them on and it's like, I just look at it by and large, you look at it and it's like, you can just tell on the sides. I mean, and again, it looks really good. It's like, it's like when you look at like silk flowers. You're like, oh, those are beautiful silk flowers. So I can look at somebody's head. And I think the worst thing you could ever say to somebody wearing a toupee is you go, my God, that's a wonderful toupee.
I feel like also I'm factoring in you not having great vision.
Yes.
And I'm thinking these must be horrendously bad toupees.
Well, I get in there. I zoom in. When I do my like social media bullshit, I have my magnifier and I like set it up for the.
Or maybe we're watching different videos because the ones I've seen, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, no, again, they look fantastic, but to me, it looks like a fantastic toupee.
I'm saying objectively, I would have had no idea.
Right. But here's the thing. If you see a guy, I mean, obviously I have, a head of hair. It's like all I have is a head of hair. Everything else is fucking hard dog shit. But like if you see a guy who's like 60 years old and he has like really coiffed, like a big fucking thing.
Those you
but
can
no,
always
what I
tell.
mean, if they're short, like if you see a guy that has really expertly styled hair and they're of a certain age, you're like, there's something going on up there. You know what I mean? Like, but again, I'll tell you the one thing I cannot tell are hair transplants. They are fucking.
I have no idea. I have no clue.
They've gotten really, really good. And although I do know some people like Joe Rogan has a big scar on his head because he got a hair transplant like 20 some years ago, and they take the hair from like the crown, the back of your head, and he has a big scar. You can just see it.
Interesting, because he's totally bald.
Well, that's what he did. He shaved his head, but you still have that big scar. Like I have a guy I know who got hair transplants and they didn't. I don't know what happened to them, but when you see him walk around, he's got like little dots on the top of his head.
Yeah, your favorite guy, Chaz from Life After Lockup.
Yes,
the one that needs more kisses. He has that. That's how I learned what that was, because
he has a toupee or plugs.
Okay, because he has a huge scar on the back of his head. And there was a like Q&A thing that they did, or Where Are They Now? And somebody asked, what is the big scar? It looked like somebody scalped him. And he's like, oh, well, years ago, I got plugs. I would have never known other than the gigantic scar. But it's like, all he would have to do is keep his hair longer there. But his hair is like mine. It's like,
yeah. Although
it's
sometimes
like, just leave it longer and nobody would know.
Sometimes though, a skull scar, like I'm talking, like I know what I'm talking about, but I feel like even if you had long hair, you would still sort of
be able to see a little bit, but not as bad as like he's all shaved up.
You imagine the irony of combing over your hair to cover your hair transplant scar.
Really robbing Peter to play Paul.
Yeah, you're really like I can't get this hair thing straightened out.
I can't win for losing here.
Yeah, no man.
Yeah.
Man.
No. It's interesting.
Yeah, but if you actually say to somebody, because if you say to somebody like that's a really great toupee.
God, them's fighting. You got to be ready.
Well, here's the thing:
defend your honor.
It's a weird double compliment, because what you're saying is, I know you're wearing a toupee, but I knew you're wearing a fantastic toupee, and those things are not cheap.
Yeah. I had a coworker years ago that was a cisgender woman, but she looked kind of like a lesbian. She was a little bit butch.
Yeah. All right.
And somebody at a party was like, some gay guy at a party was like, I just want to say you're the most beautiful M to F trans whatever. And she was like, yeah, I'm not. I'm not. It's like the craziest gaffe I've ever heard with in that kind of category, which is like, that's insane.
Yeah,
to be like it, because what if you say you have a great toupee and it's not even a toupee?
Well, then that you can walk away from.
Yeah, you almost could, but saying somebody is a trans,
yes. Oh no,
male to female.
Okay, by the way,
pretty wild.
I just did that a year ago. So
really?
Yeah, when I was in Texas, they have like a little shitty comedy club in Plano, Texas.
Okay.
And it was New Year's Eve, and I was all by myself. My daughter was doing her thing with her friend, and I was wandering around.
Okay, I remember this story a little bit.
Yeah, and I went into the comedy club there, and there was this very tall, very pretty blonde girl in like a long skirt, and she was tall. And she was like, "Are you here for the show?" And I was like, "I'm in the industry. Thank you for not making a big deal. Thank you. I'll go have a sugar-free Red Bull at the bar." And I'll wait do any younger comics want some advice? I'm happy to tell them about how they go up, where they're going up,
when and where they go up.
Yeah, exactly. Give me your best bits. So anyway, I'm at the bar, and the bartender comes over, and is this girl, and I said, boy, is the hostess transgender? And to her credit, she was very cool about it. She was like, "No, she's a girl. She's born a girl."
We've actually got her papers here. Exactly. People do ask.
We make
time
to time. I'll tell you,
the height. Was it the height?
I don't know. She looked mannish to me.
Yeah, some women just seem.
I was so sure of it. And I'll tell you one other time. And Jocelyn was with me. One time we got in the elevator, and Jocelyn gets in the elevator, and this little blonde woman gets in, and she is bone skinny, like 100 pounds, right? Only thing about her is it looks like a basketball in front of her stomach, right?
Okay.
So, because you never say to somebody, "Are you pregnant?" Because if you're wrong, it's horribly awkward.
Oh yeah.
However, I looked at this woman and I was like, she's got to be pregnant. She has to be pregnant. And she's wearing a tight dress, so she wants people to talk about. In my head, I'm doing this whole like scenario in my head. And
about how old would you say?
Childbearing age, like 30s, 20s, something. I mean,
you were able to recognize that she was.
Oh yeah, this was a while ago.
Fertile.
Yeah,
so.
She was fertile. Are you fertile? But like, yeah, no. So we're in the elevator door closed, and I turned to her and I said, "Do you know if it's a boy or a girl?" And she just looks at me and she goes, "I'm not pregnant." And we had to go to like the 28th floor, and it stopped at every fucking floor. And she was
hit everyone.
Yeah. And I remember I didn't even like apologize. I just remember thinking to myself, like, what the fuck is that thing? What is it? Do you have a giant tumor or something?
Right.
Like,
you were so curious that like it almost tempered the you couldn't feel bad.
I was almost annoyed. I was like,
it's like entrapment.
I should have been like, "You're lying. You're fucking pregnant."
Like a sting operation.
Did you just forget to get an abortion and now you're carrying this thing? Is that a rape baby? Should have said that.
What?
It's so terrible.
She didn't give any explanation. She didn't go, no, I'm malnourished. I don't know.
I just said she's carrying a rape baby. I'm demented, man. I mean,
nobody's gonna argue that.
I
But
got to get some help.
but
and I'm giggling like a little boy.
but I mean,
yes,
a big
I know.
descended belly.
Yes, it was like she looked because
She almost can't be annoyed, is what I'm saying.
Exactly right. And you ever see people, and I've only known a couple of people like this that are like they have like a waifish body, and when they're pregnant, the whole baby is just right there.
Yeah, they don't gain an ounce. They just have this fucking bowling ball.
Carry the the fetus to term.
Yes,
this is weird. They're like a baby machine.
It's weird.
Yeah. And most women, they have a baby, and they fucking there you go. Anyway, that was fun. Now you're mom. So. Anyway, should we jump over?
Yeah, let's jump over.
Listen, everybody, thank you for being with us. Hopefully you heard the whole Howard thing. If you want to really get the whole hour-long Howard bullshit, it's on Patreon along with a bunch of other things, and we certainly love your support. And thanks again to everybody, and we'll, I don't know, see you next week. Okay, bye.